You know what CrossFit needs? A good dose of reality. Reality TV, that is. Let's talk about it next.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
It's lunchtime. What's going on, everybody? Lunch with the Clydesdale. Good to see everybody. It is Monday of a short week if you work in the traditional business work week sense. Yeah, Thanksgiving week. I'm off half a day Wednesday through the weekend. It's going to be glorious. Glorious. I want to talk about our sponsor, Thirdzy. I want to reiterate that we have been using Thirdzy for a couple months before we ever signed with them, and tried it out. And if you guys did not see what Jamie posted last night, I want to share that real quick. This is from her stories, and I'll blow this up so you can kind of see. You see the graph in her sleep before Thirdzy and her sleep after Thirdzy, and the numbers that she has seen. Her average sleep metric score has gone from 76 to 88. Her average overnight heart rate has gone from 55 to 46. Her average resting heart rate has gone from 47 to 41. And her average body battery change has gone from 53 to 66. That is amazing. Not to mention, this salted caramel chocolate is an amazing, amazing flavor. You can use code Jazzy to check it out, get 15% off, or go to thirdzy.com/Jazzy and get it that way. But they have strawberry lemonade. They have salted caramel chocolate. I'm telling you, man, this stuff has changed my life. And when we get into the next thing, you'll kind of see how that happened. But Jamie is seeing results. I'm sleeping so much better than I did before. And yeah, as Corey said, use code Jazzy. Yeah, 15% off. So with that, I said last night on our show, the Sunday night show, that this morning I was going to go see my ear, nose, and throat doctor, have the CT scan read to find out where we're going with this whole sinus thing. And why Thirdzy is so important to me is this has been a mess in my life for 4 years. These sinus issues, finally, I feel like I'm with a doctor who cares, who is taking the time. And I'm going to show you, the CT scan of my sinuses. So I don't know if you can see all that there. But there's a black arrow. That black arrow is pointing to a dark black spot in my sinus. And you think, what is that black spot? The black spot is air. All the gray around it is infection. So if you look at the nose, I have one nostril that is getting some air. I have another one that's getting very little air. And my one sinus, it has just a little bit of air. The rest of that gray is infection. And that's why I've been suffering for so long. So it has been a horrid 4 years. And so what the next steps are is I'm going to have surgery on January 29th to clean all of that out. And there are 3 different levels of the sinus. one that's really close to my brain. They're going to go in with a balloon, blow that up and try to pull that out that way. Then there's some near my eyes, and that's where they hook a tool up to my CAT scan so that they can be guided through cleaning that up. And then there's the lower cheek sinus that she can kind of go crazy in there and clear all that out. The other thing is that I have a bone spur or a spur on my septum. They're going to remove that. And so, yeah. So January 29th, getting all of that cleaned up, all of that cleared out, and hopefully be able to breathe and maybe even be able to smell again. Wouldn't that be awesome? So in the meantime, they are going to try to get me an antibiotic wash to get me through the holidays with a little bit more comfort. And I just hope that, that'll help me get through. It's been just hell working out these past few months with all of that stuff up in there, trying to breathe, trying not to hack up a lung. So super stoked. Like Corey said, sounds like instant relief. It's an outpatient surgery. It'll be done on a Thursday. They're going to pack it up. They're going to stitch some tubes in to allow it to drain. And then on Monday, they're going to pull all the packing out, and then I'll go from there. So hopefully we see some significant difference after that. And I can't wait to have that done. Breathing while working out is an underrated. It is an underrated thing. Shanna, curious, have they started you on any steroid nasal spray? Yes. Yeah, I've been using that for a couple months now, but it is so bad. Like, it's not even, it helps me short term, I would say, but then it just kind of goes away. But yeah, these last 2 weeks have been really rough. So I don't know. I've had to opt out of doing some things these last couple weeks. It's just been pure misery, just trying to get through day to day. So yeah, hoping to get that release, get that relief, get back to normal, all those things. Yeah, I am on the juice, nasal juice, lung juice, all of that. Frida asks, will they give you something to prevent the inflammation from coming back, or will it just be checkups? Well, there's scar tissue, there is infection, there is liquid in there that they have to all get out. And then I'm sure that it'll be some series of antibiotics. There will be frequent checkups afterwards. But right now we're talking pre-op, not post-op. So I don't really know what the post-op plan is quite yet. Just really focused on the pre-op process right now. Hope that works and you get back to somewhat normal. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm really excited to just be able to breathe again. CrossFit says I'm banned. I am. And Jason Harper and Jeff Adler called and thanked me for admitting so that they don't have to take me on next season. So there it is. Yeah, there's a sigh of relief all over the elite division that I have been banned from next season. So there is that. Just wanted to update you. And I still have a voice box CT tomorrow. But my ear, nose, and throat thinks that the problem in my voice box is the drainage from these sinuses as bad as they are. So probably just see that it's okay. Just have to get these sinuses taken care of. But we'll find out more tomorrow for sure. So yeah, it is November 24th, and the Chicago Bears are still in first place. That just baffles my mind. No way in a million years did I think going into this season the Bears would be vying for a playoff spot. I just wanted to see improvement at the quarterback position. I wanted to see improvement in the way the team was run. I've gotten to see all that, and this bonus of, holy cow, they're 8-3. They're leading the NFC North, and they're in the playoff hunt. That is, I can't even describe it. Not even just in the hunt. I know CrossFit. It's crazy. It's like they are legit in. I saw a stat yesterday on ESPN that if they won yesterday's game, they would have a 77% chance of making the playoffs. That is amazing. Keeping it real, I'm here to reject my Steelers and defect to my birthright, the Bears. There you go. We take all comers onto the bandwagon. Trish, thanks for beating the Steelers for us. Sincerely, a Ravens fan. There you go. The beauty of this CrossFit is that it's not college football. It is not up for debate. Your win-loss record gets you in, and that is it. There you go. So super stoked about that. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is that I really think, and we talked about this a little bit last night, I really think that CrossFit needs a reality show. They need a big pot at the end reality show, and I think the WFP is the perfect place to do it. Do a 2-week, 1 tour stop event that has eliminations with hour-long episodes where you compete in CrossFit events, and there's an elimination every episode until you get to the end with a big $1 million pot at the end. And it doesn't have to be restricted to just CrossFitters. Let's show what CrossFitters can do against everybody else in the world. Open it up. We're going to do this fitness competition. Anybody can come, whether you're a football player, whether you're a track athlete, whether you do swimming, whatever it is. And then you go up against these CrossFitters, and is CrossFit truly the expression of the fittest people on earth? And you can do tours all around the world and use their topography to have events. Like you go to the Alps and you do a ruck through the mountains, things like that. And because you watch these reality shows that are on, like American Ninja Warrior, there are people standing in line for days trying to get on that show. And nobody gets paid when they compete on that show except the winner. That's it. And look at the attendance they get for that. Make it a 2-week event, huge pot. I'm saying $1 million, maybe it's 500,000, and you have like 200,000 for second place. So the final 2 win, and it's all out. Winner takes, or you make it winner takes all. I don't even care. But it is this elimination style event that as you go along, people get booted because they lost that event, and you keep moving on and moving on. CrossFit says they also have those cornball vignettes to fill dead air on American Ninja Warrior. I would argue that that's why people watch. Those cornball vignettes are what make the audience care whether this person succeeds in accomplishing getting through that obstacle. because their wife has MS, or because their daughter was born with leukemia and they're fighting through it. Whatever that story is makes people care about them succeeding in that moment. And you could do the same thing with this. Everybody has a backstory. Talk about the backstories that make people care. I agree. We waste so much time in CrossFit with coming up heat 2 women for 14 minutes. So much time. So much time. Cue Tom Rinaldi sob story. My wife and I were watching NFL pregame yesterday, and Jeremy Schaap did a thing on Bernie Kosar, the former Browns quarterback, getting a kidney transplant or liver transplant. We were sobbing. We were sobbing on that story. And then it makes you care about Bernie Kosar. I have never liked the Browns. I have never liked Bernie Kosar. But because of this story, now I care that he got this liver and he gets a second chance at life. Like, if those are done right, they make you care about that person and make you root for that person in that moment. And that's what this would allow. The key is, though, if you're going to do this, it has to be an airtight NDA. Like, if you release information, you are fined, you are sued, you're not eligible for prize money, because these things have to be post-production. You have to know what the storylines are going to be so you can create the vignettes to amp up the story as you go through the season or this 2-week event, whatever it is. You know it's going to be brutal and sad, but you watch the whole way through. Exactly. Game Day does one every week. NFL Sunday Countdown does one every week. Every one of them makes you cry, but it makes you care about the people involved in the story. But I don't think CrossFit should they should be the ones backing this reality show. Let somebody else do it. Partner. Let them use the CrossFit name throughout the broadcast. Let them talk about the methodology and why these are the events that have been picked, why there's a definition of fitness, why nobody else has come up with the definition of fitness. Do all those things, but have somebody else run it, like WFP. They have these event organizers. They can gather the stuff together. They can put together the rosters, and they can go through this process. But make it an open call so you can get basketball players and football players and soccer players, and you can see who truly is the fittest of these athletes. I think it gets eyeballs on what they do. I think it gets eyeballs on the sport. And then in the following season, when the CrossFit Games season happens, people understand more about why this tests fitness. And then when you're watching the CrossFit Games season, it makes more sense. And that's how you can kind of grow the sport. And maybe, just maybe, when people watch these reality shows and they see that you can go to a local affiliate and learn how to do this fitness stuff so you can be awesome, maybe that translates to that as well. I think Titan Games couldn't call athletes CrossFitters. I know they could not. I know that was I've interviewed Margot, interviewed Matt Chan after he won. They could not use the term CrossFit. But I think that's where CrossFit, with all of their more recent partnerships, allow them to use the name CrossFit. But give them an education on, this is why we test it this way. This is where it came up from. World Fitness Sport Contender. There you go. Or call it the WFP Contender Series. Isn't that what UFC has? Where they develop these people that are are up and comers, and they're eventually going to go into the UFC as one of their big draws, something like that. I like that too. World Fitness Sports Contender, Sport Contender. Doesn't make a good acronym, but yeah, I like the name. And you could do vignettes on like where the methodology came from, all those kinds of things in a good partnership. I don't know where we are with all that, but man, I've heard people say like Drive to Survive and Full Swing, like those kind of documentary shows are what CrossFit needs to get into. But the more I think about it, I like the reality type show. And if you travel from location to location and it's a 2-week thing and you're all together, film that off the field stuff, because I think all of that is what makes people bring eyes to it. The drama, the crazy thing, right? CrossFit, we are so much alike. There was a phenomenal boxing reality show called The Contender with Sugar Ray Leonard. I remember it. It was, you're right, Stallone hosted it. Sugar Ray Leonard was like a big mentor, and it was getting the big contenders in the boxing world. And I thought it was a great show. Jeremy, that's from last night, and it's the stuffing's in the butt. Stuff it in the butt. That's what she liked, or he liked, whatever. So yeah, I really think like it could be something. And if you made it like a big cash prize at the end, people are going to sign up. People are going to do it for the exposure. And you can, if Netflix is paying for this Asian 100, why wouldn't they do something similar to that with like American celebrity stars, sports stars, things like that? I think it could work. And I think there's enough streaming services you can get picked up by one of them. I mean, Netflix is finding that event TV is doing better than scripted TV right now. That's why they're trying to get into the NFL. That's why they're trying to get into boxing. That's why they're trying to get into all the other stuff, because event TV is what is making the world go round on the streaming services. It would probably be a healthier example than The Biggest Loser was. Exactly. Show the tip of the spear. Live appointment television is the only thing these days, and sport is that. Exactly. But again, if you're gonna film it in a 2-week period, because my where this comes from is we have to give an off season to these athletes. We're learning that they just cannot go year round. With all the withdrawals in for Copenhagen and the WFP, they need time off. They need time off to let their bodies rest. They need times to go through cycles of different lifting, cycles of different weaknesses. They need to work on those things. And when you're competing so often throughout the season, it's not giving you any time to do that. Frida says we have a show like that here with retired top athletes competing in various ways. I think that's good. I think this is, you make the events CrossFit style events, very specific, and you have athletes compete in it. And I think it would be really good. Corey Leonard says, be super easy to be better than the Biggest Loser. Listen, I was a Biggest Loser addict. We can say hindsight is 2020. We can say what we will about it. The documentary was crazy, but I was addicted. I mean, I was tuned in every week for Biggest Loser. A person like this would also allow athletes to become breakthrough stars. Suddenly, someone from it becomes the Miz. Yeah. The Miz goes from real world to real world road rules challenge to the challenge to WWE superstar. All through the reality TV world, and then becomes a WWE superstar. Biggest Loser in the eyes of the early 2000s, it was crack. A lot of reality shows were crack. When it first came out and people thought it truly was reality, we were all tuned in. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Real World 1 came out and how different it was and how crazy it was. And I was tuned in every week on MTV. That was pretty much the end of the music videos on MTV when they started coming out with the Real World and the Road Rules and all of that. But I remember it, and it was like crack. Me and all of my friends were watching Real World back then. So I really think this is the best way to promote what CrossFit is and get eyes on, but you've got to have the drama. You've got to have the thing that sucks people in that aren't CrossFit sycophants. Like, you have to have that drama to bring in others to see it, to know it, to grow it. They got Rulon Gardner on The Biggest Loser. They did. They also got Holly Mangold, whose brother Nick just passed away, former New York Jet. Holly Mangold was on there. She actually is, they're both from here in Columbus area. I got to meet Holly, and she answered all the questions I had about Biggest Loser behind the scenes. And she really put a big old pin in my balloon about what it's really like. Because it was nothing what they show on TV. Nothing. And that was really like my first foray into figuring out that this reality stuff is not real. So there. Yeah, she said, like, the Bob and Jillian, you'd only saw them like once a week for an hour to film the footage. They weren't there all week training them. There were other trainers who weren't celebrities that trained them most of the time. And the show depicted that her and Bob had this really good relationship, when she said, like, she actually had a better relationship with Jillian than she did with Bob. And she barely saw Bob. So yeah. Jeremy says, my friend was dating Melinda from the Real World Austin. She broke up with him to go on that show. Wow. CrossFit couldn't get enough of Bob until he had his heart attack. Yeah, Bob became this superstar. And at which one was it? Was it 2014 Open with the box jumps or box step ups and the increasing deadlift? That was my best ever open workout. I think it was 2014. I'm terrible with the open numbers, but I I almost beat Bob, and that like made my day. It was like one rep difference. I was either one rep ahead or one rep behind. I can't remember. It's been 10 years. 14.3 RIP Achilles. Yeah, 14.3. My deadlift has always sucked. I'm a terrible deadlifter because my back is just shit. And for some reason that day, I was just crushing the deadlift. And it was my best open finish ever. Like when I finished, the entire gym like jumped on me like I was a pitcher at the World Series. It was like the coolest experience of my CrossFit career. Well, one of them. I've had a lot of cool ones, but that was my best finish ever of an open workout. And when the whole gym is jumping on top of you, it's a glorious feeling. And I wish there was a way we could capture that magic on video where people understood what it was like. But you know, I don't know how. I don't know how. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. I'm going to do a short show. I missed most of the morning because of the doctor's appointment and the sinuses. And so I probably should get back to work a little bit today. Jeremy says affiliate contest. Yeah, maybe like the thing at the end of Chase's new podcast, maybe like during the open, like you send in, like SportsCenter does top 10 plays, maybe like top 10 reactions from the open and do like a top 10 list. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is true. The doctor has confirmed that Scott does have ears, a nose, and a throat. Yeah. The nose just doesn't work. And because the nose doesn't work, the throat is full of schmutz. But yeah, I have them. And negative Corey says people would stage reactions. They probably would. But I think we know what's authentic and what's made to be staged. Like you've seen people get their first muscle up and the way they act, like you can tell what's genuine and what's faked. I think you can. Maybe I'm being naive. I mean, if you've been in a gym long enough and you've been doing CrossFit long enough, you know when it's an authentic reaction. You've seen enough of them because it happens all the time. People also thought The Biggest Loser was real. Well, maybe, but that's different. The reaction to like getting your first muscle up or your first double under or your first box jump, like we've seen that, and that stuff can't be faked. I hope it can't be faked. I mean, we're in this world of like everything being AI and everything being pseudo real. Like I want to believe that is the one thing we cannot fake is first muscle up, first rope climb, first double under, whatever it is. Deadlift PR, clean and jerk PR, all that stuff. Jeremy asks, is it cold in Louisiana, Corey? You grump? Thank you. Frida, I love seeing those first. I think we all do. Alligators are ornery because they got all those teeth and no way to brush them. think that speaks for all of us. Because Corey's a cynic when it comes to that stuff. I know how I flipped out when I got my first ring muscle up. I happened to video it. Well, you say you did, or did you just fake it? Maybe it was really your fourth ring muscle up. How do we know? I can turn the tables. We just got to take your word for it. With that, I'm going to head back to work. I also know that as soon as you attach it to a prize, being featured on a CrossFit reel, they will make shit up. But hopefully we can detect that. All right, guys, I'm heading back to work. You knuckleheads, you get back to work too. We'll see everybody. I probably won't be here tomorrow. But I'll be back Wednesday with Micah Shoemaker and talking about the Magic City Games and how to qualify for the Masters or H Group CrossFit Games. We're going to talk about that Wednesday with him. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Love you all. See you all next time on Lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.